Our big focus, Syrian fighters who ousted President Bashar al-Assad have appointed Mohammed Al-Bashir as the country's caretaker prime minister. Now, Al-Bashir, who previously headed the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham-led government in Idlib province, will now lead a transitional government, but his term will last until the 1st of March next year. A little bit of context about him: he has served as the head of the rebel administration's self-styled Salvation government since January and previously held the role of its development minister as well. But his immediate challenge, presiding over a country that's divided and battered actually by 13 years of war, and seek to unite it in the traditional seat of power, which is Damascus. Well, for further clarity, we have with us Professor Sari Hanafi, Professor of Department of Sociology, Anthropology and Media Studies, currently joining us from the American University of Beirut. Thank you so much, Professor Hanafi, for making time for us. How do you see the latest developments with Syrian rebels having overthrown the Assad regime and now appointing a head of transitional government?
Yeah, this is a wonderful thing. This is a very brutalized dictator, and I think the Syrian people suffer for 56 years with the if you like, governance of his dad, Hafez al-Assad, and Bashar al-Assad. And it was a very violent regime, using systematically torture, violating of human rights. So finally, after 13 years of since the outset of the Syrian revolution, the Syrian people succeed in a very civilizational way, I would say, the succession of power. There is very little casualties in this war. The importance is really that the new leadership recognize the diversity, ethnic diversity, religious diversity of Syria, and seek not to impose public morality, if you like. We saw yesterday in the communique of the leaders of revolutions that no one should undermine the way people would like to dress in the public spheres. So I think there is a significant positive signs to let us think that so far there is a perspective of transition into a state of law, I would say into democratic state, even if the new leaders, they don't like to use this word democratic state.
In fact, Professor Hanafi, this is something many living in Syria for the past 13 years have reiterated time and again, that it was a very violent regime. There was systemic torture, there was a violation of human rights in broad daylight, but many emphasize that managing a rebel region of some 5 million people is actually a totally different task from a national leadership role in a country that's torn by deep divisions, as you are highlighting, and where many people live in poverty as we speak. So what do you think about these rebel forces then, the HTS and the Kurdish forces? Do you feel that after having overthrown Assad, there would be some peace among these factions?
Yeah, this is a very good point. I think first of all, it's not about liberation of Sham committee, if you like, HBS. It's about a unifying effort of all, if you like, the revolutionary forces, except the Kurds, who unify themselves in order to advance to liberate Damascus and toppling down Syrian regime. So there is a specificity, I would say, of the Kurdish area, and I think in the future should be some negotiation to have a decentralized confederation type of governance in Syria. But I don't think this is a big hurdles. I mean, I think how the revolutionary forces were able to convince Christian Alawites Shia, that no one will hurt them, and this is what happened so far, I think they will send the same message for BYD.
Well, Professor Hanafi, thank you so much as always for joining us on NDTV. We will of course revert to you for regular updates to understand this conflict better.